183, that was the number staring back at Dorothy from her blood sugar monitor. It didn't make sense. She had just finished what her doctor described as a perfectly healthy dinner, steamed vegetables, grilled chicken, and absolutely no dessert. She felt she had done everything right, yet the next morning, her fasting blood sugar was sitting at a staggering 212. The culprit was actually one specific vegetable on her plate, a vegetable that is likely sitting in your refrigerator right now. But here is the secret Dorothy's doctor never shared with her, and what I'm going to share with you today. There is a simple way to eat that exact same vegetable with up to 40% less impact on your blood sugar. It comes down to a specific preparation trick backed by clinical research that changes everything, and I will reveal exactly how it works when we get to the number 1 spot on our list. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 common vegetables, ranked from manageable to the most challenging for your blood sugar, and for each one, I'll give you the specific strategy to enjoy it without the spike. This isn't about cutting things out of your life completely, it is about eating smarter. I'm Dr. Michael, and for over 20 years, I've helped thousands of seniors take control of their blood sugar through simple, practical food strategies. We aren't talking about extreme diets or expensive supplements, just smart choices that work with your body instead of fighting against it. A recent study from Harvard actually found that the type of vegetables you eat affects your blood sugar just as much as the total carbohydrates you consume. Seniors who learned these strategies saw up to 40% better blood sugar control within just 3 weeks. That is the difference between having stable energy all day versus crashing after every meal. If your blood sugar spikes after dinner, if you feel tired and foggy in the afternoon, or if your doctor keeps adjusting your medication and nothing seems to work, this is for you. Please drop your age in the comments right now. I read every single one because I want to know who I'm helping today. Before we dive into the 7 vegetables, let me quickly explain what is happening inside your body, because once you understand this, everything else clicks into place. Think of your blood sugar system like the thermostat in your home. When you are young, that thermostat responds instantly, the temperature changes, it adjusts, and everything stays comfortable. But after age 60, that thermostat gets a bit slower. It doesn't react as quickly as it used to. When you eat certain vegetables, especially starchy ones, your body breaks them down into glucose very fast, flooding your bloodstream. Your pancreas releases insulin to handle it, but here is the problem: your cells don't respond as efficiently as they once did. Researchers call this insulin resistance, and a Mayo Clinic study found it affects up to 70% of adults over 60 to some degree. The result is that your blood sugar stays elevated for hours, causing inflammation, draining your energy, and over time, affecting your nerves, kidneys, and eyes. But here is the good news that changes everything: this is not permanent. Your body absolutely can handle these vegetables well, you just need to know which ones require attention and exactly how to prepare them. That is what separates people who struggle with blood sugar from people who have it under control. Let's start with vegetable number 7 and work our way up to the most important one: corn. I know what you're thinking, corn seems so natural and wholesome. Honestly, corn is the most manageable vegetable on this list, but it still needs awareness. 1 cup of corn contains about 31 grams of carbohydrates. For perspective, that is more carbs than 2 slices of white bread. Its glycemic index ranges from 52 to 60 depending on preparation, putting it in the medium category. The tricky part is that nobody eats just a quarter cup of corn. At a summer barbecue, you are likely eating a whole cob, maybe 2, and those carbohydrates stack up fast. Your simple strategy is to keep portions to about a quarter cup, roughly 2 tablespoons, and always pair it with protein like grilled chicken or fish to slow glucose absorption. Also, choose corn on the cob over canned, as canned versions often contain added sugars. Robert, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Tampa, used to skip corn entirely after his diagnosis. Once he learned the portion strategy, everything changed. He told me that by taking a small scoop instead of a whole cob, he gets the taste he loves, keeps his numbers stable, and doesn't feel like he's missing out. If you think corn requires attention, wait until you hear about number 6, green peas. These little green spheres look completely innocent, often found in casseroles and rice dishes, but they are hiding more carbohydrates than most people realize. 1 cup of cooked peas contains about 21 grams of carbohydrates and 8 grams of sugar. That is surprisingly high for something that looks like a diet food. The problem isn't the peas themselves, but how people eat them, usually mixed into already starchy dishes like rice or pasta. Research from Tufts University found that when starchy vegetables combine with other starches in the same meal, the effect on blood sugar multiplies rather than adds. Your strategy is to limit yourself to a quarter cup per meal and never combine peas with rice, pasta, or potatoes. Serve them alongside non-starchy vegetables instead. Also, frozen peas actually have a slightly lower glycemic impact than canned because the freezing process preserves more fiber structure. Moving to number 5, we have butternut squash. This beautiful orange vegetable is beloved by health-conscious eaters and is nutrient-dense, but the preparation method matters enormously. 1 cup contains about 22 grams of carbohydrates. When roasted until soft or pureed into soup, the cellular structure breaks down completely, making the starches instantly accessible to your body. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that the same vegetable can have a glycemic index difference of 30 to 40 points depending on cooking method. Your strategy is to keep portions to half a cup maximum and cook it until just tender, not mushy. Avoid pureed soups and always roast it with olive oil, as the fat slows down the entry of glucose into your bloodstream. If you love squash soup, make it chunky rather than pureed and add white beans for protein. Now, we are getting into vegetables that require the most awareness. Number 4 is beets. Beets are genuinely healthy for heart function, but for blood sugar, they require caution. 1 cup contains about 17 grams of carbohydrates and 14 grams of sugar. That sugar is primarily sucrose, which is absorbed quickly. The real danger hides in beet juice, which removes the fiber and concentrates the sugar. A single glass has the sugar load of 3 or 4 whole beets. Patricia, a 72-year-old retired nurse, was drinking beet juice daily for her blood pressure, but her sugar kept creeping up. When she switched to a small portion of whole roasted beets twice a week, her morning numbers dropped by 23 points in just 2 weeks. She told me she finally felt in control again. Your strategy is to limit yourself to a quarter cup of whole cooked beets and avoid the juice entirely. Number 3 is one that upsets people: sweet potatoes. Everyone thinks they are the safe alternative to white potatoes, and while they are better, they aren't problem-free. 1 medium sweet potato contains about 27 grams of carbohydrates and over 5 grams of sugar. The orange variety that gets soft and sweet when baked has a high glycemic impact. Your strategy is to choose smaller potatoes, bake rather than mash them, and skip the brown sugar or honey toppings. If you can find Japanese or purple sweet potatoes, they are drier, less sweet, and have a lower glycemic impact. Number 2 flies completely under the radar: parsnips. They look like white carrots, but they have a glycemic index of approximately 97. Since pure glucose is rated at 100, parsnips are almost identical to pure sugar in how fast they spike blood glucose. When roasted until caramelized, they become a rapid glucose delivery system. Your strategy is to consider avoiding them or using them only as a tiny garnish. Turnips are a much better alternative with a far lower impact. And now, number 1, the vegetable that caused Dorothy's spike: white potatoes, specifically russets. A baked white potato can raise blood sugar as much as a glazed donut because the starch gelatinizes and turns to glucose instantly. Mashed potatoes are even worse, sometimes ranking higher than pure glucose. But here is the trick I promised you: if you cook a potato, refrigerate it for at least 12 hours, and then reheat it, the starch transforms into resistant starch. This resists digestion and lowers the glucose response by up to 40%. Dorothy learned this. She now makes her potato salad a day ahead, and her blood sugar dropped from 183 to 126. Your strategy is to cook potatoes a day ahead, keep portions small, and always eat them with protein and fat. To put this all together, use the plate method: fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables like greens and broccoli, a quarter with protein, and the remaining quarter with starchy vegetables if you choose to have them. Eat your starch at lunch rather than dinner, as insulin sensitivity is lower in the evening. Also, use food sequencing: eat your salad and protein first, then the starch. Margaret, a 71-year-old patient, used these strategies and reduced her medication for the first time in 3 years. She called her daughter crying tears of joy, saying she finally felt like she was winning. Remember, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be smarter about your choices. Corn, peas, squash, beets, sweet potatoes, parsnips, and white potatoes all require attention, but with the right preparation, you can still enjoy them. Start with one strategy tomorrow, perhaps the food sequencing or the cooling trick. You are taking control of your health, and you deserve to feel your best at every age. One final piece of advice that pairs perfectly with these dietary changes is to incorporate movement immediately following your meals. You don't need a gym membership or a rigorous exercise routine. Simply taking a 10-minute walk after eating can have a profound impact on how your body processes sugar. When you walk, your muscles actively pull glucose from your bloodstream to use as fuel, which helps to blunt that post-meal spike naturally. Think of it as a partner to the food strategies we just discussed. By combining smarter vegetable preparation with a brief walk, you are attacking high blood sugar from two angles simultaneously. It is a small habit that yields massive results, keeping your energy steady and your mood lifted throughout the day.